Let's dive into a story that, well, it kind of flips everything we think we know about devotion right on its head. You've got a god, Lord Jagannath, and his most loyal follower, Hanuman. But the whole thing boils down to this one really strange question. Why on earth would a god chain up his greatest ally?
So, those are the actual words of Lord Jagannath, speaking right to Hanuman. And yeah, it sounds harsh, doesn't it? Kind of like a punishment. But what if it wasn't? What if these weren't chains of punishment, but a blessing in disguise? See, this is the key to a divine play, a Leela, that was about to save an entire city.
Okay, so to really get why these chains are so important, we have to go back to the beginning. We need to understand the crisis. Our story starts in the holy city of Puri, a place that was, under constant, relentless threat.
I want you to just imagine an enemy that never, ever sleeps. It's just constantly beating at your door. For the people of Puri, that enemy was the ocean itself. This wasn't some pretty postcard view, no way. It was a terrifying, destructive force of nature. We're talking wave after wave just crashing into their city, tearing down homes, and leaving, well, a trail of complete destruction.
You can just feel the exhaustion, right? The total despair in those words from one of the devotees. The people felt completely helpless. I mean, they were pushed to the very brink, thinking about abandoning their homes for good. The sea, it was just too powerful to fight.
So, what do you do when all human effort fails? When you've tried everything? Well, you turn to the divine. And that's exactly what they did. The whole community, in this massive act of faith, went straight to the temple of their protector, Lord Jagannath, and just pleaded with him to step in. They knew, deep down, if anyone could tame that wild sea, it had to be him.
And, when Lord Jagannath heard the pleas of his people, he already knew. He knew exactly who to call on to solve what seemed like an impossible problem.
Now check out his reaction. Lord Jagannath isn't worried at all. He's actually smiling. He turns to his consort and is basically like, "Have you forgotten about our greatest devotee?" Of course, he's talking about Hanuman, the literal embodiment of strength and devotion. For Jagannath, the solution was already right there, plain as day.
And the plan? Oh, it was as direct as it was brilliant. Step 1, summon Hanuman. The guy whose power is legendary. Step 2, give him one simple command. Stand guard. Just act as a living wall between the city and the sea. The logic was rock solid. No force on earth, not even the mighty ocean, would ever dare to challenge Hanuman.
And get this, the instant Lord Jagannath says his name, boom, Hanuman is there. No questions asked, zero hesitation. Just pure, unshakable devotion. That single act tells you everything you need to know about who Hanuman is at his core. And honestly, it makes what happens next all the more surprising. But this perfect, unwavering devotion, it's about to be put to the ultimate test. We're getting to the real heart of the story now, where two of Hanuman's greatest virtues are about to clash in a way that, well, changes absolutely everything.
And at first, it worked perfectly. It was the perfect solution. Hanuman just stood there on the shore, and his presence alone was enough to calm the raging sea. The city was finally safe. You could imagine the people could breathe a sigh of relief. But that peace, it wasn't gonna last.
Okay, here's the turning point. While he's standing guard, doing his duty, a sound starts to drift in on the wind. It's a kirtan, this beautiful, devotional song praising his beloved Lord Jagannath. Now, for someone like Hanuman, hearing his Lord's name sung with that much love, it's basically an irresistible call.
And this is the core of his conflict. On one side, you've got his kartavya, his sacred duty to protect the city. But on the other side, you've got his bhakti, that deep, personal devotion to his Lord. See, both are acts of love, right? But they're pulling him in completely opposite directions. So what's he gonna do?
Well, his devotion won out. He just couldn't resist. He left his post, just for a moment, he thought, to get closer to the music. But a single moment was all it took. The sea, almost like it was waiting, sensed his absence and came roaring back. And just like that, the city was once again at its mercy. So when Lord Jagannath saw the city flooded all over again, he knew a simple command just wasn't going to cut it. Something more permanent was needed. And this, right here, brings us to the climax of the whole tale.
So Lord Jagannath appears right in front of Hanuman, and in this one moment, everything changes. He says these incredibly powerful words. And what's amazing is he acknowledges both Hanuman's incredible strength and his weakness, his devotion. The solution he offers isn't a punishment. It's something so much deeper. He's going to bind him, not with iron, but with a bond that can never, ever be broken.
And this, right here, is the key to the entire story. These chains, they're called a lila kisima, which means a boundary of divine play. They're not for punishment at all. Think of it more like a sacred contract, a permanent promise that perfectly merges Hanuman's duty and his devotion into one single purpose.
Then Jagannath explains the divine logic behind it. See, as long as Hanuman is free to wander, the sea might get bold and forget its boundaries. But with Hanuman physically bound to this one specific duty, every single wave will know its limit. They'll know Puri is protected. His chains literally become a permanent law of nature, guaranteeing the city's safety forever.
And just like that, this divine act gave birth to a whole new form of Hanuman, a form that is celebrated to this very day.
And Hanuman, he doesn't just accept this bond, he fully embraces it. In that moment, he's transformed. His duty and his devotion, they aren't in conflict anymore. They're one and the same. He completely surrenders his own desires for the good of the people, and his life now has one single sacred purpose: protect Puri. That's it.
And you know what's amazing? This isn't just some old story. This tale explains the real-world origin of the Bedi Hanuman temple, right there near the sea in Puri. Bedi actually means chains. To this day, pilgrims go there to see Hanuman, eternally bound, a timeless symbol of duty, devotion, and divine protection.
So, in the end, what looked like a punishment was actually a sacred honor. What this story really teaches us is that sometimes the greatest act of devotion is to fully embrace our duty. It's about turning our responsibilities into a form of service. So the next time you feel torn, between what you want to do and what you have to do, just remember the story of Bedi Hanuman. And maybe ask yourself, what chains are you willing to wear for the greater good?